Even though it's pretty late in the fantasy football season, we should be thankful there's still some decent players to add at every single position. Here are my waiver wire pickups for week 10 of fantasy football. What's going on, fantasy football fans? I'm your host, Hussein the Brain, and you're watching the couch. There are 6 teams on bye this week. Those teams are the Broncos, Texans, Jaguars, Patriots, Eagles, and Washington. These are the top quarterbacks to add. And between the top 7 here, so Brissett, Darnold, Daniel Jones, up to Jimmy G, there's not really that big of a difference. I'm glad that Jimmy G did prove to us, so we have some confidence that he can get the job done. He did it Thursday night against the Cardinals. He put up some really good numbers, 4 touchdowns, absolutely balled out, and he can do it again against the Seahawks. Now, his floor is not that great, so you might want a safer option like Tannehill going against the Chiefs if Mahomes is there. Derek Carr has been super consistent, super safe, and although I don't love him this week against the Chargers, he still should do okay. He's got some really good matchups after that against the Bengals, Jets, and Chiefs. I just want to interrupt this video really quick to tell you that if you've never played on Monkey Knife Fight before and you're playing this week, you'll get a free t-shirt. That's right, I'm giving away a free t-shirt to every first-time player on Monkey Knife Fight. It's an awesome, super simple site where you can play daily fantasy prop games such as over, under, touchdown dance, and the fantasy challenge. All you got to do is go there, sign up, use promo code COUCH. When you deposit, you'll get a 100% deposit match up to $50. So head on over to monkeyknifefight.com, or better yet, follow the link below in the description, use promo code COUCH, and write your MKF username down below in the comments. If it's your first time playing, you'll get a free t-shirt. Now back to the waivers. It's been announced that Nick Foles will start week 11, but keep in mind he is on bye this week. I would give Daniel Jones a huge boost if Sterling Shepard is playing. He's one of their main receivers, and Daniel Jones didn't do that great week 9, but he did show a little bit of promise, a little bit of upside, also a little bit of rushing upside too, which we love with quarterbacks. So keep tabs on Sterling Shepard. I wouldn't recommend starting him if Shepard is out, and even with Shepard in, Danny Dimes is a risky start. Talk about risky starts. We have Sam Darnold going against the Giants. I do see Darnold having a really good game. He is risky, but he could be as high as #1. I'm serious, because the Giants defense is just that bad. I think Darnold can throw the ball. He's got a few receivers, and Chris Herndon might actually get some targets this game. He's got running backs that can catch, tight ends that can catch, and 3 decent receivers in Demarius, Crowder, and Robbie Anderson. Jacoby Brissett I would have ranked much higher if he was fully healthy and T.Y. Hilton was healthy. Unfortunately, Jacoby Brissett may or may not play this week against Miami. Sweet matchup. And on top of that, they're missing a lot of receivers, including Paris Campbell, Funchess, who was out since the beginning of the season, and now they're missing T.Y. Hilton, who hasn't been ruled out or anything this week, but his original timetable to return was 3 or 4 weeks, so he's highly unlikely to play. This is going to be more of a Marlon Mack Wilkins type of game. Then in deeper leagues, we have Kyle Allen. Cam is basically done for the year and headed to IR. Ryan Finley is now the starter for the Bengals. Let's see how he can do. I don't think he can do much worse than Andy Dalton, but he might be able to. Ravens have a good defense, and this could be a messy game for Cincinnati. Then we have Taysom Hill, who's actually been putting up some fantasy numbers. We're into super deep league, dual quarterback league territory though here now. And then we have Brian Hoyer, just in case Jacoby Brissett is out. Hoyer actually surprised me a little bit and didn't play that bad in the absence of Brissett week 9. There are some great running backs to add, and that's pretty rare without any major injuries going on, and that's Ronald Jones. He's named the starter. He's going to start. Dude, it's week 10. What's Bruce Arians is killing us, man. But yeah, Ronald Jones is now the starter. He'll get the bulk of the carries. He's clearly the best back in Tampa Bay, so I got to put him #1. And then #2, we have Kalen Ballage, who is a starter in Miami by default. Matchup's not that great. I like the Colts defense, especially against the run, but Mark Walton is suspended and Kenyon Drake got traded last week to the Cardinals. Kareem Hunt is reportedly going to have a role in that Browns offense immediately. He'll be coming back, and so he will bite into Nick Chubb's carries. I don't see it being a whole lot, and I do see him being eased in, maybe 8 touches this first week, something like that. That's just pure speculation. Still, he's worth it, even if you just think of him as a handcuff to Nick Chubb. That's an extremely valuable handcuff, and we've seen those other running backs on the Browns not really have much appeal. Kareem Hunt at least has RB1 upside, maybe not RB1, but RB1 upside if Nick Chubb were to miss time. Then we have Ty Johnson. This is another kind of default guy. Trey Carson is on IR. They just don't have a lot of running backs, so by default, Ty Johnson is going to get the bulk of the carries, probably. J.D. McKissic again proves to be a really good back in PPR and makes Ty Johnson kind of, I mean, he just doesn't have a lot of upside. He's just really not that good. I do like J.D. McKissic as a pass catching back though. And we're starting to get a little bit more into deeper league territory here. Dion Lewis is a bye week fill-in in full PPR leagues. Could be okay. This is the type of game script where Dion Lewis might put up double-digit fantasy points. Not someone you ideally want to start or anything like that. There's still a lot of teams on bye this week. Darius Geis is on bye, but is slated to return week 11. Rashad Penny, good handcuff, if nothing more than that. Reggie Bonifant, same thing, great handcuff to C-Mac, who's having an amazing year. And then we have Darrell Henderson of the Rams, Gus Edwards of the Ravens. I'd only recommend picking up Gus Edwards in the deepest of leagues or deep non-PPR leagues. If you're in a 14-team PPR league, Gus Edwards probably not worth an ad unless you're super desperate. And then we have a weird situation with Le'Veon Bell. His MRI should be okay, but I don't know what's going on here. I just wanted to talk about it briefly, that they did sign Josh Adams from the practice squad, supposedly so no other team would pick him up. And so we have quite the mess here for backup running backs. Number 1 being Ty Montgomery. Number 2, maybe Josh Adams, maybe Bilal Powell. We'll see. There are about a dozen wide receivers to pick up that aren't that bad, and that's pretty surprising. And we got to start off with Jamison Crowder. He's just not owned in enough leagues, and I think the main reason is because he's on the Jets. Adam Gase is a weirdo. Sam Darnold is seeing ghosts. The Jets suck. So I think because of all that, it's shining some negative light on Jamison Crowder. Like, people aren't excited to pick him up and start him. Only owned in roughly about half of leagues. He should be owned in a lot more, especially if you're in a PPR league. And I see him having a decent week. He has a pretty good floor. His ceiling's not super high, but we're talking about waiver ads here. We're not talking about the elite wide receivers that you're starting every single week. Then we have Devontae Parker. I mean, the Dolphins team, man, they just don't have many players. They don't have any wide receivers. They don't have any running backs. So by default, Devontae Parker becomes a clear-cut number 1 wide receiver. I do like him this week as a streaming option. Preston Williams is out. And T.Y. Hilton is hurt, so Zach Pascal and Chester Rogers both get a boost. Definitely Pascal's the one you want to own, but Chester Rogers could be a sneaky start. They both play Miami. Deebo Samuel should be owned in a lot more leagues. Kyle Shanahan uses him in the run game, in the screen game, as a receiver. He's being used just about every single week. Kyle Shanahan runs a great offense. Deebo Samuel definitely needs to be owned in more leagues. And if you want to play a little bit of Titans wide receiver roulette, we have Corey Davis, AJ Brown, or Adam Humphries. Adam Humphries, I'm just doing my best here to tell you which one to pick up. It's Corey Davis is the best one, probably. Adam Humphries is okay in PPR, and AJ Brown's kind of a wild card. They're both really close, and I wouldn't be surprised if anyone outscored the other, or if any of these three put up 0 fantasy points. It's just that kind of thing. But Ryan Tannehill's been playing okay, much better than Mariota. Cole Beasley's okay in PPR leagues, and now we're getting into super deep league territory here. Josh Reynolds, if Brandon Cooks is out. Hunter Renfrow has been playing much better, and defenses will likely be focusing on stopping Darren Waller and Terrell Williams, leaving Hunter Renfrow one-on-one with not the best cornerback. I like him as deep league sneaky start. And then we have Traquan Smith. Not a lot of information about him. He's been injured since around week 3 with an ankle injury. Doing some quick math, I don't think he had surgery. Didn't see any reports about that. They just had a bye week, and it's around 8 weeks he's been out. For an ankle injury, 8 weeks is a long time to recover without having a lot of information. My guess is that he's healthy and will be back. Let's see if that's the case. I just added him in my Dynasty League. Hopefully, Ted Ginn will pass the deep threat torch in New Orleans to Traquan Smith. That's what I'm hoping. And if Traquan's not able to go, I do love Ted Ginn this week going against the Falcons. And in super deep leagues, we have Albert Wilson, Taylor Gabriel. Wish the homie had a better quarterback in Chicago. N'Keal Harry, Josh Gordon, who's now in Seattle, Randall Cobb, and BC Johnson of the Vikings if Adam Thielen's not able to go. For tight ends, I don't know what to say. Out of these top 10, so from Gesicki to OJ Howard, there's pretty much no difference. This is the tight end crapshoot, and I hate all Bucks tight ends. I started Cameron Brate. Apparently, I'm thinking he has some kind of rib injury and didn't even really play. He was replaced by some other tight end, Tanny Tanner. The guy sucked. Like, it wasn't even that good. So I'm guessing this rib injury from Brate is a bit serious. If these tight ends are out and OJ Howard by default is the starting tight end, the only healthy tight end for the Bucks going against the Cardinals, his upside is through the roof. But what about the trust? There is no trust. And then we have a similar situation with Chris Herndon. Like, he's never played this year. He's always hurt. He's suspended. His coach is Adam Gase. I'm telling everyone to pick him up every week, but it's week 10. He hasn't even played yet. 0 fantasy points total, first 9 weeks. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know what to say. It's tight end roulette, tight end crapshoot. Any one of these top 10 tight ends will be okay. Just plug them in and hope they do well. I mean, if you're in need of a tight end this week and you're not in a deep league, you might just want to wait and add one off free agency so you don't waste a waiver claim if you're not adding any other players. Vance McDonald going against the Rams. Jason Witten, who's got a pretty high floor. You can pretty much pencil him in for 8 fantasy points every week, sort of like a James White for tight ends. Jonnu Smith, if Delaney Walker is out. Walker just shedded his walking boot. Jack Doyle against the Dolphins. Eric Ebron and Jack Doyle's almost tied, but Ebron's owned in almost every league, and Jack Doyle's almost owned in no league. So that's a big difference in ownership there. Jared Cook might be coming back from his ankle injury. Good matchup against the Falcons. Jacob Hollister, who I absolutely love. Don't trust him this week because Russell Wilson going against the Bucks is different than Russell Wilson going against the undefeated Niners and their defense. Just a totally different type of matchup. So I like Jacob Hollister as a desperate start, as a stash. Like, I like him, but don't recommend you start him this week. So more of a long-term ad. I do like Mike Gesicki more for this week. Should probably even rank him higher, actually, because of that. I just have high hopes for Hollister long term. But Mike Gesicki, man, by default, he should be getting a lot of targets. As far as how good he's been playing this year, I'd say mediocre. Like, he's okay, but he can catch, he can run. And yeah, a lot of targets. He should see at least 6-7 targets, so I do like him a lot. And Tyler Eifert, this is a super risky start. I wouldn't be surprised if he got 0, 2, or 4 fantasy points, like kind of like what he's been doing. But let's see what happens. I mean, you don't want to be starting Eifert, but any week, really, any of these tight ends could score. I mean, we're getting into super deep league territory here. We also have Irv Smith Jr. of the Vikings. Noah Fant actually doing better now that Flacco is out. I did draw that conclusion based on one game, so that might be wrong, but I have more hope for Noah Fant. I think Flacco is really bad. And just keep in mind that Fant is on bye. The Broncos are on bye this week. Dallas Goedert is on bye as well. And then we have rookie tight end Foster Moreau of the Raiders. For defenses, the top two super elite defenses this week are the Colts and Ravens. Because of the injuries to the Dolphins and they made so many trades, I'm going with the Colts #1. This will be a low-scoring game. I don't see the Dolphins putting up a ton of points. And this is all if they play mistake-free. There's a lot of opportunities for mistakes. Now, the Ravens D, though, there's more opportunities for mistake with Ryan Finley starting. Who knows what's going to happen? And if you want to debate, Ravens or Colts D, hey man, I'm not even, it's all good. If you think the Ravens are going to be better than the Colts, I've been going back and forth. I'm ranking the Colts #1 just by a tiny bit. I'm giving them the edge just by a little bit. Both are elite. Both are top 2 no matter how you're ranking them. I love both this week. If you can't get one, you should be just as happy to get the other. And then we have the Lions D going against the Bears. Lions have been pretty disappointing. They have some good players, man, and this is a division game. Will probably be low scoring. The Bears are okay against the pass. They're not against the run, but the Lions can't really run. And so I see a low scoring game here. I like the Bears D. I really like the Lions D. Tough to kind of predict how the Lions D will do, but one thing we can sort of predict is that Trubisky is going to be really bad yet again. To me, Trubisky's been the biggest disappointment so far this year as far as quarterbacks go. Even a bigger disappointment than Baker Mayfield. We have Saints D going against the Falcons. Browns D going against the Bills in a low-scoring game. I would rank the Bills D around #3 on this list, but I'm looking and they're owned in about 80% of leagues, so I'm not going to put them there. A lot of people added them because they had some pretty good matchups. They recently played the Dolphins, good matchup last week, so they're owned in pretty much every league. Did want to at least mention them. If they're not owned, they are, in fact, a great defense. Every week I get someone asking, like, what about this defense? What about that defense? Yes, the Bills defense is good this week going against the Browns. Low scoring, close game. Should be a defensive game. Rams D going against the Steelers. We have Steelers going against the Rams. So this is deep league territory here now. Giants D going against... what do we call Sam the Ghost Darnold, or Sam Seen Ghost Darnold, or Sam Mono Darnold? Oh man, it's looking bad. Jets D going against the Giants. Chargers D going against the Raiders in a division game. Maybe won't be too high scoring, but it is Thursday night. Who knows what's going to happen? Those games are tough to predict. And Packers D going against the Panthers. C-Mac expected to absolutely destroy the Packers run D. That's why I have him last here. Still, the Packers D was good in the beginning of the season. Let's see if they can do a little bit better, or at least stop Kyle Allen. Lots of great kickers to pick up. So I'm putting these top 5 in the sort of elite category here. Of course, I like Will Lutz a lot more than the rest, but I'm saying if you have one of these top 5, I think you'll be okay. So #1, Will Lutz, elite kicker. Drew Brees is back. They're coming off a bye week. Going against the Falcons, there will be lots of opportunities to kick extra points and field goals. I see Will Lutz going absolutely off this week. Also, it's going to be in a dome at home. Oh man, yeah, I love Will Lutz. He's a must-add. Then we have Matt Gay going against the Cardinals. It'll be a little bit sloppy things, a little bit crazy things. That's why I do see a lot of field goals possibly for Matt Gay. I think his floor is okay. His upside is really high. Cardinals defense not that great. And we have Michael Badgley. He's back. He's accurate. He's super good. I like how he played last week and this week going against the Raiders. They don't do that well against kickers. They allow a good amount of points against kickers in fantasy. Joey Sly, very accurate kicker. kicker, good kicker. Don't love the matchup this week in Green Bay, but he always seems to produce. I'd say he has a pretty high floor. And then we have Zane Gallus in that Cardinals-Bucks game. And if you're in a little bit deeper league, we have Daniel Carlson, the Raiders kicker, Dan Bailey, the Vikings kicker, Aldrich Rosa's very good kicker going against the Jets, and Adam Vinatieri, who's basically losing games for the Colts. He's not to be trusted. I think any other kicker, I believe he's a Hall of Famer, but any other kicker would have probably been cut by now. Make sure to follow the link below in the description to go to monkeyknifefight.com. Use promo code COUCH so you get your deposit bonus. And for all first-time players on MKF, I'll be giving away a t-shirt to everybody this week only. Make sure you guys are subscribed to this YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe to our second YouTube channel, Fantasy Couch Podcast. Just hit that orange couch icon over there. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Dislike if you didn't. And I'll catch you on the next one.